Thursday, August 17th, 2023. Hello everyone, Brian here, and today I will be giving you an update on our tomato growing and harvest for this year in California. It seems that the tomato growing experience is very polarized. You either had a really great year or you had a year to write off, and fortunately for us, we had an amazing year. Grew more tomatoes than we thought could be possible, so we were able to share a lot of it. These are the Martino's Roma tomatoes, and then in this box we have the standard Italian Roma tomatoes. We've harvested a good number of them, like I just mentioned, over 100 pounds worth of them. And in this box, when we get them filled up about 3/4 of the way, we get about 20 pounds of tomatoes. We've gotten the Costoluto Genovese and also the ox heart. The other tomato that we're going to be harvesting next are the San Marzanos that are over there. So I'll take you over there in a second to look at them. These are the Principe Borghese. Got a lot of these and we were able to share them. The other thing that we got a lot of this year are peaches, and the peach growing year has been very interesting for the entire country. Georgia, which is a big producer of peaches, they had a huge loss because of the way the weather worked out. In Northern California, there was frost. And then for us in Southern California, we had a lot of peaches. And the only issue was that they were more bland than usual. This mid-pride peach tree here, it's an early maturing variety. We had a lot, but they weren't as good. So the later ones, like the Desert Gold peach that you just saw, they are actually sweet and flavorful. Our July Alberta, there's one that's still green up there. It's nice and flavorful and sweet. And then we had a new variety produced for us, which is the August Pride variety. And that was on the bland side too, because of the time of year that it became mature. So we have succession planted varieties of peaches, and then we also have succession planted varieties of tomatoes, as well as succession plantings of tomatoes. So we're gonna go up there and look at our succession Romas. So as I mentioned earlier, in this these two beds here, we had the Costoluto Genovese. It produced a lot of tomatoes. We got bumper crop, two bumper crops, I would say. So this plant is left here so that it can finish ripening some of the remaining fruit. So we had, I think it was 3 plants in here. We grew 2 main leads, and it produced a huge amount of tomatoes for us. And same in this bed, we cleared it out, and the plan was to plant some corn, but the skunk had other ideas. It dug up a lot of our corn, and we're trying for another round of beans. So let me take you up there. Keep on trying to get up there, but then there's always things to show you. Like over here, we have 2 Principe Borghese tomato plants, and I've already pruned away a lot of the foliage, and I'm trying to let it finish up whatever fruit it's on there. Although I think this year, with the way tomatoes are going, it's probably going to try to grow all year long. So here we have our succession planted Romas, and you can see our fruit that is ripening. We got good sets of fruit, and they're very good size. This is the best Roma tomato harvest I've had to date. I almost want to give up on them because we didn't get them to a size that we're getting this year, which is typical size. We would probably get a bunch of these, the ones that at this size, compared to the ones that are like on the left, which we're pulling more of. And then up there we have some tomato plants. I'm just going to give you a quick brush over of what you're going to be seeing when it comes to the tomato production and the type of soil. We were asked to do a soil test for a new type of medium, which is paper base, and I'm not a fan of it for a couple reasons. One, the cost. It's around $30 for two cubic feet, and if you're trying to solve issues, it can't be too expensive. It's cost prohibitive. So this is a paper base. It's essentially paper and cardboard that they grind up, but the problem is it doesn't make nutrients available. I don't think there's a lot of microbial life happening. So you need to really liquid feed your plant the elements that it needs. So as a result, you can see here, it holds the nitrogen well. I amended it with nitrogen, and the plants are nice and green, but there's only one fruit on here. So that's the one fruit. There are lots of blossoms that want to bloom and set, but I think they just lack the ingredients needed to make fruit. And then on the left here, we have a tomato plant that's grown in what I call soil, actual soil. It's soil that we built using clay. We amended it with some compost and some garden soil, which is essentially ground up wood chips. And so you can see here, it's more uniform in size with the fruit, and we have fruit set. And then the plant is not as green. So at this stage in the plant's life, we don't need so much nitrogen, so much foliage. So if it turns yellow a little bit, that's okay. And then the next soil here is peat. So this is just peat moss and perlite. Peat moss has nutrients out of the bag. It also has some microbial life that will make the elements available to the plant. So you can see you have a lot of fruit set, but the fruit is not uniform in size. So these are the different things that you might see as a gardener, and a lot of the things that you see are going to be affected by your soil. And the definition of soil is very loose. I want to come on later and make a more defined definition that where people can work off of and actually have working soil as opposed to soil, because you can call this soil, and then you can call that paper soil as well, and then you can call garden soil. But garden soil, when you buy from a bag, from the big box as a bag, it's essentially wood products that are just in the process of breaking down, and they're not entirely broken down, and so you're going to have issues with your plants. This is relatively new soil, so this plant that we grow in actual soil here is not going to look as robust as, say, something that we grow in the ground with more soil. So in the container, it's limited in what it can grab because the roots are confined in this container. But if you grow in the ground, there's more available elements and things that the plant can draw. So that's our succession Romas. I'm gonna try to remember to take you out to the front yard where we have another Roma tomato plant that we planted in succession, but that one is making a bumper crop for us, which is really nice. So we're gonna take it this year. And then before I forget to also mention, when it comes to tomatoes, the bigger slicing tomatoes, the ones that are supposed to get to a pound, like the Cherokee Purple, they haven't. It was more of an off year for them this year. And I found that it's probably a common experience for other growers here in Southern California, and probably California, and then the surrounding regions, maybe like Phoenix, Southwest part of the United States. So let me take you to the San Marzano. So these are succession planted, and so we want to be able to keep our produce in the garden. So this is my definition of a kitchen garden, where we keep our produce in the garden. We grow enough for what we need, and that way we don't have to worry about storing them inside our kitchen, especially when we have a small kitchen or in the fridge. But next year I want to get into preserving more, so that way we can have save our tomatoes and have them in the fall. Another way is to go about it is freezing, but I rather try to can them if possible. So we got a bunch of San Marzanos. They're nice and red. One thing I discovered about the San Marzano is it keeps well on the vine. Maybe it's because we purposely planted it in this part of the yard where we don't get a lot of sun. So for the later crops of tomatoes, that full sun, Southern California sun, will bake them, and they're not happy. So we plant them where there's less sun and fewer hours of sun per day. And then the next one over here, this is another Cherokee Purple. So you can see the vine is not as productive. The first Cherokee Purple that you saw, that was a Craig La Hoyer Cherokee Purple. And then let me walk you over here where we had our Blue Beach tomatoes that we grew, and they've been cleared out. We also grew an Amish paste tomato, and this is the first time growing it. So we're going to try to grow it again next year. In this bed here, the plants were harassed by our newest chicken additions. These guys are they don't know the rules yet, so they're just flying in here and just disturbing the plants. The plants got stressed. They got a little bit of, well, they got stressed, so they picked up some issues, and so we had some cracked fruit, which I'll show you in a second. We'll go back to it and show you in a second what that looked like. And the other thing was I had a lower fence, so a few inches more made the difference. So they've been staying out of here for the time. Well, they've been staying out here, so out of the area, not messing up with our growing space. So here are the blue beeches, and they picked up some cracking because they didn't have as much foliage cover because the chickens were just messing with the plants. So it went into survival mode to hasten up and ripen these tomatoes. Nonetheless, with the cracking, we can still cut around it and get some really nice meaty tomatoes. Okay, let's head out to the front where I'll show you our bumper crop of Roma tomatoes, which is once again very welcome. Oh, here's another tomato plant. This is the Black Prince tomato, and we grow this to act as a shade apparatus for the dragon fruit that's under here. So this is an Egger's baby dragon fruit, and it makes really nice rose flavor or even lychee flavor dragon fruit. Normally I'm very indifferent to dragon fruit, but that one is actually very, very tasty because it has good sweetness and that nice rosy flavor. And ironically, I'm not really drawn to lychee, but the two combined, it's really, really tasty. This is a quick glimpse of our front yard. We've cleared out the corn, and then our pumpkins have been growing here. You can kind of see an orange pumpkin there. Let me take you real quick to see this other one. That's right there. And our broccoli is still producing, so we were able to grow broccoli year round. It's something that I don't recommend people trying, but it's something that's possible. I'll show you the secrets in the future. But here are our bumper crop of Roma tomatoes. So we got a good number of them, good size as well. So we grow them here, and you can notice once again we got more shade here, fewer hours of direct sunlight to hit the plants. And then we also have another plant out there. So let me take you out to the front so you can kind of see the space. We also have potatoes that we grow out here. So this is our planting space out in front. And that's gonna do it with our tomato update. We're gonna get maybe a late summer bumper crop, hopefully, from that last planting of the Romas. And then there was a trial to plant some mortgage lifter tomatoes, but that plant doesn't look very good right now. It has some fruit, but maybe not a lot, but we'll take them. And that's gonna wrap it up for our latest update today. Thank you for coming along and checking out our garden, and I hope to see you in a future video.